Breaking news, and here we go on a Friday. You're looking at yet another pursuit this week. Seems like we've had so many of them. Right now we are in West Anaheim. This is the 5 freeway southbound. Stolen pickup truck, Alex, and we've seen this driver, kind of a boring-ish pursuit, you might say, but on several freeways.
Good evening. Welcome to Fox 11 News at 10 o'clock. I'm Alex Michelson here with Christine Devine, and what I think a lot of people like as their Friday night entertainment, almost as much as World Wrestling Entertainment, is watching a pursuit. So let's hope this ends peacefully and nobody gets hurt. That's always the danger in these things. But look how fast this guy is going. 89, 90 miles per hour on the freeway. You see a lot of the other people are flying, but you see just how fast this person is going in this stolen truck. We've seen this person on several different freeways throughout parts of Southern California, and we have seen at times law enforcement has gone into tracking mode out of fears about how dangerous the pursuit was. Now you see the black and whites behind this person with giving warning to all the people that are driving on a Friday night, not expecting that they would run into a high-speed pursuit. As you would expect at this time of night, 10:03, you don't see the rush hour traffic that we often see when we cover pursuits at 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, and a wide-open freeway. Dennis Zine is with us on the phone. Dennis Zine, who, of course, spent years in the LAPD as part of these pursuits and then was part of the policy-making apparatus around them as a member of the LA City Council. Dennis, what are your thoughts as you join us on this Friday night?
Well, what we see is another Friday night pursuit here in the region. And speeds very, very fast. We see them fluctuating up from 90 down to 50, 60 in the stolen truck. CHP obviously knows what they're doing. Fortunately for the traffic on the freeway, the motorists, it's very light traffic, which is obviously the benefit of the public. If this individual crashes or does something foolish, at least we're not going to injure innocent people. And the big issue right now with pursuits is liability. The liability for the officer, liability for the agency. But in this particular case, you need to do something that's reasonable, that's prudent. And when we analyze pursuits, that's exactly what they're looking at. Did you exceed or were you reasonable in the pursuit and the tactics that you employed? And here we know we've got multiple units, obviously air units overhead, and they want to apprehend this individual. But we see these pursuits becoming more and more bizarre with the speeds, the recklessness. It seems to be an everyday occurrence. We don't always have them covered on television, but obviously pursuits have increased as people continually disrespect the law and flee from the authorities. It's just a continuing saga. So here we are this evening at a little after 10 p.m. watching this erratic driving, and the fact is they're going to stay right on him. But as far as, and I've been involved in many, many pursuits as a member of law enforcement, this particular situation, we have very little traffic. The speed will be excessive compared to what if it were heavy traffic, which then reduces the hazard to the officers, also the hazard to the motoring public. And this will go on as far as it goes. We used to say, well, they run out of gas, but at this day and age, we don't see too many people running out of gas in the pursuit.
Are you suggesting when you say liability that, like so many corporations in America, it's more important to not get sued than just about anything else as an employee? That's the number one thing driving decision-making processes? I feel like I can relate to that thinking.
Well, it's not only the financial aspect, but officers can be charged with criminal activities when they say, well, you exceeded what was reasonable and prudent. I mean, police officers face a lot of jeopardy. You don't want to get arrested. You don't want to go to jail because you're trying to do your job. So they're looked at very carefully, and the back off is common. As soon as you get an air unit overhead, and oftentimes the watch commander who's monitoring, I want the units to back off. And the big concern is jeopardy to the people, and also what can happen to the officer or officers if the department believes they're exceeding what is reasonable and prudent in a pursuit.
And we're now passing Disneyland, Christine.
Yeah, Dennis, we have seen a kind of erratic behavior with this driver in that the driver's been on the freeways, off the freeways, been on the 605 at one point, gone through Long Beach and Whittier. We're now in Anaheim. When you watch this pursuit and you think of the officer's mindset, is there any kind of predictability that you're seeing with this driver?
No, none unusual. I mean, they want to get away. Probably have been involved in criminal activity in the past. Normally, your motorist who commits a traffic violation is going to pull over and stop, and not this. But most of these people have been involved in the criminal justice system before. This is not the first time that they've done something. And in fact, if it's a stolen vehicle or involved in the AEW or some other crime, they've been through the criminal justice system. They don't want to go back, so they take the necessary steps they believe are appropriate and try to flee. But they're putting everybody in danger, themselves, the officers, the general public. But on a freeway, it's a lot safer for everyone on a freeway, much safer than on a surface street.
As we watch these speeds, I'm thinking of the pursuit we had earlier this week where you had a driver going 90, 100 miles per hour. This driver, maybe it's the type of vehicle, the weight of the vehicle, perhaps they might be impaired in some way, but their speeds have not gone, pretty much around the 60s and 70s on this one, on the freeway.
Well, that's reasonable. That's on a freeway. But you can see the suspect is passing vehicles that are traveling with the flow of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've seen it get up to 90 miles per hour plus at some points. So we are now in the Garden Grove area. You wonder if there are folks nearby who recently left Disneyland after a nice day, perhaps with their family, who are heading home, who are now caught up in this. Look at the lights on that vehicle. I don't think are quite legal. So we continue to drive on the freeway. The things you see that
you've been deputized.
You run into. Nobody need. I don't need that liability, Dennis. That's on you. That's to that point. So we continue to drive. We're now in the Santa Ana Triangle area of Orange County on this Friday night joyride for this driver who likely will end this night in handcuffs. But we'll see. We do see drivers get away sometimes, although, Dennis, it seems like that it's more likely that they get away when they enter so-called tracking mode, where you're just following the driver from the air. When you do have the ground units behind, it's a lot harder for them to get away.
Exactly, because it takes time for the units to respond to that particular location. But the current concern, again, is liability and public safety. They'll let the person go if it jeopardizes the general public. In this particular case, on a freeway, at these speeds, which 90, some 88, 90 miles an hour, that's not unreasonable as far as continuing this pursuit with the officers. Light traffic, no pedestrians, no cross streets. So this is a situation where you're really going to go all you can to apprehend this individual, and you'll see the units will stay with them. It's not going to be a tracking mode because there's really no need to be a tracking mode in this situation since there's really no jeopardy other than what's on the traffic on the freeway, which is extremely light, as we see very little traffic. So all these situations play to the fact of law enforcement can stay with this individual and hopefully take them into custody as soon as this comes to an end and no one gets injured in that situation.
Mm-hmm. That, of course, is the hope with all of these pursuits. Nobody gets injured. We think about what can officers do in a situation like this. We saw the pit maneuver on the freeway during a pursuit this week, but that's when the speeds dropped down to in the 40s, like 40 miles per hour or less. That
was because that car, if we remember, had made a bad maneuver and ended up damaging the vehicle, so the vehicle was driving slower. It's pretty hard to imagine many of these situations where the vehicles on their own are driving at 35, 40 miles an hour on the freeway without some sort of extenuating circumstance. And now this guy is going even faster, approaching 100 miles an hour on the freeway, which gets dangerous for the other people that are driving and don't have a lot of warning. I mean, if a car's coming at 100 miles an hour, even with the sirens, and I've been there, I'm sure you've been there, I'm sure you've been there, Dennis, just as a regular driver, when all of a sudden you're driving late at night and you hear the sirens, and it just goes by in a flash.
Not even sirens, somebody just flying by you on the freeway, at crazy speeds.
And you don't even have time to react because it's moving so quickly.
Well, you'll see those lights coming up because the lights that they have now on the police vehicles are much better than the ones they used to have, the little cans on top on the right and left side, the blinking amber in the back and the solid red in front. But they've gone to better technology with the illumination and the warning lights that people will see. In this particular case, we see on the screen 3 CHP cars, and there'll probably be more ahead as they change off. But this traffic is extremely light, especially in the direction that they're traveling.
Yeah.
So you'll see a parade of CHP cars, and the local jurisdiction may get involved. Normally they don't, but once they get off the freeway and the surface streets, in the local jurisdiction will assist. And CHP does a tremendous job in these pursuits. They're very accustomed to high speed, and the vehicles are equipped for this. So they're in good hands as far as the public, knowing that the CHP is doing what they know how to do best, is chase cars at high speeds. They're well trained for that.
We have seen varying levels of danger in terms of a pursuit. This driver, not especially dangerous compared to some of the drivers we've seen recently in terms of his maneuvers, although, of course, he's about to probably prove me wrong on that. But because it is high speed on the freeway, it's fairly wide open. Is there any reason for police to get aggressive with this driver, or is the better strategy for the CHP to essentially just wait him out?
Well, they will be aggressive as reasonable. They're not going to pull alongside the car, pull the guns out, pull the shotgun out, get to the shoulder. They'll do what's reasonable, and we're all trained. I still serve with the LAPD, so I'm still trained with this. And what you want to do is take them into custody, but the number one priority, more important than take them into custody, is safeguard the general public. You don't want to see an innocent person become a victim of this dangerous situation. Pursuits are extremely dangerous for everyone involved, but what you want to do is maintain the control, maintain the proper distance, and hopefully come to a peaceful ending. We used to say run out of gas. Well, that's not going to happen. But once they get on the surface street, it gets much more dangerous.
I don't know. A truck like that might run out of gas. They're going to use up a lot more gas than, say, an economy car, which we had that pursuit earlier this week. And you don't know also when this truck was stolen, how much gas was in the truck to start with. So it could run out of gas.
Exactly. But we don't know, but we will find out in this situation with the traffic as light as it is, with the air units overhead and the night sun. It's just a matter of time, and hopefully it'll be done soon so the viewers can get the real news that Fox wants to broadcast.
Indeed, as we now are in the Oak Creek neighborhood, as we continue to drive on the 5, moving south at this point, eventually, towards, I guess, San Diego. We'll see how far this person is able to drive in this truck as they're moving. And we'll see if there's going to be an exit or a freeway change here. Let's see where we head here. Are we going to get off the freeway? Are we getting onto a different freeway as we watch this all unfold together? It looks like we may be moving on to a different freeway here as we turn. Let's see where we're going here. So this is near Spectrum. Wonder if this is the Irvine Spectrum that we're looking at, which is, obviously a busy mall area that might have a lot of people on it on a Friday night, and there's lots of other stores and shops around there. And let's see where we go here. So
Laguna Beach.
I'm wondering, towards Laguna Beach, are you thinking this driver is staying on a freeway, Dennis?
Is this the toll road?
Again?
It looks like we're on the 133 south. I wonder if that's the toll road in the area as well that you can take and get on as well. That might be the 73. Trying to remember my Orange County.
We'll find out soon, because the ways this driver can go going southbound is towards the Dana Point area, Capistrano Beach. Laguna Niguel is, to the north, or you said, Alex, continue on towards San Diego, which we've had these pursuits go all the way to Mexico before. That has happened. Dennis, so in that case, let's say CHP is following this pursuit. It gets into San Diego region. Does the CHP in that area pick it up because they know the area so much better?
Oh, absolutely. What they will do is radio ahead to the different jurisdictions as they travel through. They're not going to notify the local agencies unless they exit the freeway. Most local agencies seem to be monitoring this anyway because stations are monitoring the news. The watch commander is monitoring the news. That's just common practice now. But they will notify the stations ahead, and they're not going to set up a roadblock, but they will be monitoring. And once he gets to the border, hopefully the border will be able to prevent him crossing if it gets that far down.
Okay, right. So we're looking at now the 133, which, as Alex mentioned, is that toll road, so not quite to the Laguna area. So a couple of options here. You've got the 73 toll road as well, or you can continue on straight to the beach there. I'm thinking this driver will probably get on that toll road, that 73, because if they know this area is wet at all, they know that the 133 is going to run out there onto PCH, which is not a busy freeway type route.
But the air units will stay with it. They'll notify the other agencies, CHP, they've got the radio frequencies throughout the state, and then they will just transmit to the other agencies as they pass those jurisdictions. In the event he gets off the freeway, some of those CHP officers may not be familiar with the surface roads, the residential areas. The local jurisdiction can assist with that if it gets to that point. But he may just be heading for the border, maybe heading down to Mexico.
Would there be a flight restriction maybe with John Wayne Airport or something? I wonder why Skyfox is so far away. We are not that far away from that airport, so there may be a reason why. I would guess that's the reason why we're sort of losing it. Hopefully we get back our picture and we can get you the end of this pursuit as Skyfox continues to look for this.